Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Wassalat, Wassalam, Ashraful Anbiya wa Mursaleen, Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Amma ba'd. Today we continue on the Surah 100, which is Adiyat. So we continue with Adiyat today and Qahira, 100 and 101. Suratul Adiyat, it is a Meccan surah. It is a Meccan surah. Although some people have, some of these scholars have given the opinion that it is a Medinan surah. But you will find this situation a lot with the difference of opinion, because sometimes certain surahs, the scholars at the time, at the Prophet Islam, were not taking note sometimes. They take note more of the bigger ones, the more important ones. So that way you have sometimes the differences of opinion regarding some of these when and where it was revealed. It takes its name, Adiyat, from a word in the first verse of the surah, Adiyat. It means the chargers or the racers. It's referring to horses. It is concerned with Allah swearing by war horses as animals that are subjugated for the use of men in warfare. This surah is also concerned with ungratefulness and descriptions of the last day. So Allah begins, Wal Adiyati Dobha. Adiyati Dobha. By the war horses snorting. When these animals that are trained to fight, when they are mounted and are ready for the raid to occur, for the cavalry to move, they snort. As if they are ready for battle. Now, we may ask ourselves why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is actually swearing by these horses. And we'll come to that in a while. Wal Muriyati Qadha. And by the strikers, the war horses, when they run and their feet strike the ground, because of their hoofs, when it strikes the ground, it gives off a spark. This is what Allah is saying here. When they ride and their foot hit the ground, they give off sparks of fire as they gallop towards the enemy for battle. Falmugirati subha. By those that attack at dawn. Okay, one of the favorite time to raid that people use their horses to raid enemies is at dawn. And that is still a military tactic, even our time. Even the police, when they come for you early in the morning, at dawn. Catch you unawares, catch you sleeping. Okay, as the gangsters in America say, they catch you lacking. So you're not fully aware. And this strategy is used even today by all militaries. They attack at dawn. So, فَأَثَرْنَا بِهِ نَقْعًا. And when they ride into the enemy in the attack, these horses kick up sand and dust. That's the attack. Because they are so powerful in their movements, dust kicks up as they go forward. فَوَسَطْنَا بِهِ جَمْعًا. And they go and they penetrate the middle of the enemy formation. Okay, these horses are brave. They go to the middle of the battle. They face the enemy and go to the middle of the ranks of the enemy and scatter them. Okay? So in the attack, this is what they do. So all of this, Allah is creating a scenario before He goes on to connect it to us. Now, what is so educational, or what kind of meaning we can take and knowledge we can take from this scenario of an army on horses attacking the enemy at dawn, and the horses kicking up sparks of fire and dust, and they're attacking headlong into the ranks of the enemies and splitting them in half. Now, these horses are bred for war, and they are trained and looked after carefully by their masters, by their owners. They feed them properly, they take care of them, they rest them properly, they give them exercises, and they train them. These horses now are ready to face danger. Okay? They go forward, they are not afraid. They face danger. And they even fight. These horses kick and bite. Okay, they are trained like that to kick. When they reach, they bite people and they kick people. And they are willing to sacrifice their lives on the battlefield for their owners. So Allah is saying, look at these horses. For the care and the training that the owners give to them, they are willing to sacrifice their life and struggle to ensure that the owner receive victory or their master. And that is why Allah follow up with Innal insana li rabbihi lakanud. That indeed, for sure, no doubt. Okay? No doubt. Man, meaning the disbelievers, is ungrateful to his Lord. Not only disbelievers, but Muslims, believers can also be ungrateful. And they have to be careful of that. So if you contrast that to the horses, okay, look at yourselves. Allah created you, He takes care of you. He gives you intelligence, He gives you speech, He gives you wealth, He gives you children. Whatever bounties that Allah gave each of us individually, each different from the other. Okay, each different from the other. And our response to Allah is ungratefulness. Unlike the horses are loyal to their owners because of how the owner trained them and took care of them and feed them and cater for them. But Allah is saying that He did the same for man, but man is ungrateful. Okay, man is ungrateful. So that is the connection between these horses and mankind. And the reason Allah used these horses, because the Arabs were accustomed to raiding, Gaza. They did a lot of raid. They raid each other for when they had differences, when they want to plunder. It was one of the features of before Islam came amongst them. They had a lot of gang, what we can quote unquote call gang warfare. Okay, and it's the same principle. They had gangs, let me say tribes, and they will fight each other for territory. They fight each other for rank. They fight each other because of disrespect. And they used to make poems when they ride out. Just as now people ride out in gangs, and they're doing they have drill music. What they're going to do with the enemy when they reach, and who they're going to smoke. And who they're going to do X, Y, and Z to. It's the same thing. It's a part of ignorance. Okay, it's a part of Jahiliyyah to behave like that. So it is very sad when Muslims or brothers who accept Islam from that culture, and they seem not to be able to get out of that culture. So they have one foot in the gangs and one foot in the Jamaats. And what makes it even worse is that young women are attracted to these kind of individuals. They don't want the Muslim who pray too much, fasting too much. They don't want that type of Muslim. Okay? Because this gangland type of Muslim, he has more resources because he might be still be involved in drugs or some haram things. So they're after the money. Okay? They're after the money and the bling that these type of Muslim bring them. But the other type of Muslim who might want to build a house, who might want to teach his children Quran and educate his wife, for them, there's no bling in that. And then when the trouble comes, they run into and fro and wanting Islam now to intervene. Because with that gangster lifestyle and mixed with Islam, it have a lot of abuses. Okay, the women are subjected to beatings, putting guns in their faces. And then they try to run to the general community for us to solve those problems. While they themselves went into that and they make fun of the Muslim who they consider as nerds. No bling with those guys. So they want the lifestyle, but they don't want the harms that come with that particular lifestyle. Okay, and this is very important to understand. And then they go on Facebook and bad talk men. Men is this and men is that and men is the other. You never hear about their complicity. Okay, they are complicit in the way they are treated because of their intentions. You can't have it both ways. Okay? So, and this is nothing new. This has happened before in many different societies. And even the Arab society which the Quran first came. Okay? Even Arab societies which Islam first came. And despite all of the mechanization and the technological advances, horses are still used in armies, even to this day. horses are still used. Okay, so it's something that will not easily go away from mankind. So somebody could say, well, that's the Arabs. Now we have tanks and planes and howitzers and manpads, killers and drones and blah, blah, blah. Okay, but despite all of that, horses are still used in wars up to this day. Okay, so nothing really has really changed. وَإِنَّهُ عَلَى ذَلِكَ لَشَهِيدٌ. And without doubt, this man who is ungrateful, he's a witness to his own self. He's a witness to his behavior, and he bears witness against his own self. So Allah is saying that this person is ungrateful to his Lord. Okay, he's ungrateful to his Lord. And he knows it. This is what Allah is basically saying. He knows it. He's a witness in his own self that he's been ungrateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He knows it. She knows it. And, you know, there's a saying, the guilty conscience needs no accuser. Because part of the makeup of the human being, we have a self-accusing soul called the conscience. And in this world, the conscience is a personal check in the human being, in the system of the human that Allah put there in order for him to self-check himself as to his actions. And what happens is that some people, or most people, they dull their conscience. They cover their conscience. They ignore their conscience. Either some people ignore it, some ignore it by substances like drugs and alcohol. You know, they drink Hennessy before they do wrong things. Or they smoke marijuana or cocaine, or they drink rum. Whatever they do to dull their conscience. So that self-accusing voice will not bother them when they act. And after a time, when you smother your conscience, it will have less influence on you and your actions. So, indeed, he's a witness to what he's doing and his ungratefulness. وَإِنَّهُ لِحُبٍّ. And indeed, he, in his love, okay, لِحُبِّ الْخَيْرِ لَشَدِيدٌ. That in his love for wealth, he is enthusiastic. He's ever ready to get it. Okay, when it comes to gathering wealth or getting money, he's extremist. He becomes an extremist in doing that. You have to get the bag, as they say. You have to reach that bag. We have to get the bag. And then Allah says that when he you know, that energy that he puts in getting the bag, we know from other verses that after that he becomes stingy. Okay? After that he becomes very stingy. Doesn't see a right of the poor due, the zakat, the tax on the poor due tax. He's not concerned about that. Nor is he concerned about sadaqah, which is a voluntary charity. So you can't get nothing out of him. He becomes like a stone. Okay, he becomes like a stone, and he or she is only for themselves. Afala ya'lamu, do they not know? Does that individual or that person not know that there will come a time, okay? There will come a time, either bu'thira ma fil kubur. Bu'thira ma fil kubur. Either, which means that there will come when that time when the earth will vomit or throw out, okay, what is in the graves. Basically, Allah is saying, does he not know that a time will come when he will be resurrected on the day of resurrection? And as I said before, in a couple of surahs before, where I read from the Quran, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that part of the purpose of creation and our existence is that one day we'll have to give an account. The day of resurrection is not an afterthought from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, it is connected. Once Allah created us, He had already decreed that we will have to face His judgment and His court, and we will have to give an account of what we did. Okay, that's part of our creation. So Allah is saying that while this man is ungrateful, unlike the loyalty that the horses show to their owner, we do not even show that level of loyalty to Allah. These horses are willing to sacrifice, and yet we are stingy. These horses are willing to go into the middle of the battle, and we are fearful. These horses are willing to face death and sacrifice themselves, and we have become cowards. Okay, we become fearful, and we forget that life and death is in the hands of Allah. And these horses, just out of appreciation for their masters, for their owners, they are willing to sacrifice themselves. And we have to ask ourselves, are the horses better than us? Are these horses better than us in their dedication to their owners? So Allah says that there will come a time when the graves will throw out what is in it. And the only reason the grave does that is because the judgment time has come, which is part of the process of our creation, that we indeed will have to give an account for what we did. وَحُصِّلَ مَا فِي الصُّدُورِ. And what is in your heart, what is in your chest, meaning what is in your heart, will be exposed. Okay? What is in your heart will be exposed, and it will be examined. And this goes for Muslims and non-Muslims. That the chest or the heart will be exposed. And all that we have hidden in our hearts will become manifest. and they'll be looked into, which means that we'll have to give an account for them. Inna rabbahum bihim yawma idhin lakabir. And that verse 11, that on that day indeed, Allah says, do you not know that we are aware of you? So during the whole process of life, Allah is aware of exactly what it is you are doing. So this verse was sent in order to raise our self-consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That our existence, He's aware. And you remember when the angel came to the Prophet ﷺ and he asked him about Islam, Iman, and Ihsan. Okay, and the Prophet ﷺ, the angel asked, well, what is Ihsan? And the Prophet explained that is to worship Allah as if you see Him. And if you can't do that, then worship Him knowing that He sees you. So what Allah is saying is that mankind should reach that level of Ihsan, that where he's aware that his Lord is observing him. Okay, and this is the spirituality. Ihsan is the spirituality of Islam. Is the spiritual aspect of Islam, and it has been called by many other names, but it is the spiritual aspect of Islam, and it is what shapes the life of a Muslim. It is what gives him the sweetness of worship, the sweetness of following the Prophet ﷺ, and the sweetness of obeying Allah. Okay, it gives you the sweetness of living the life, of a Muslim. Ihsan, which is a very important aspect of our deen. So Allah is saying that is man, Muslim and non-Muslim, are not aware that Allah knows exactly what they are doing. So He will either reward you with punishment or reward you with felicity, happiness in the paradise, or being thrown to the hellfire. Okay, so that brings an end to Surah Adiyat. Okay, we now go to Surah Al-Qariya. Al-Qariya is also a Meccan surah, and the name is taken from a word in the first verse of the surah, Al-Qariya. And Al-Qariya means the striker, or the crashing blow, okay, or a heavy calamity, or striking, like hitting somebody, a powerful blow. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Al-Qariya, Mal-Qariya. He says that the crashing blow. And we know that all of these are synonyms, or other names for the day of judgment. Many names we have passed across in these surahs. And a crushing blow is or being struck hard, so much so that you are fearful. And when you are fearful, it causes your heart to beat faster. You can actually hear your heart pumping. When you are afraid, or you are startled, or you're overcome, the heart race. This is the effect of that strike that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about. It causes fright and it causes terror. And that is why the heart beats so fast. because it is startled, it became afraid. Wama adroka ma Korea. Okay? So Allah first he said, and what is the Korea? And we know these double questions are just for emphasizing the importance of what Allah is speaking about. And then he says, Wama adroka ma Korea. What will tell you what is the Korea? So in this verse, we have a second, okay, Al Korea for emphasis, and then we have a third one for a triple emphasis. And what will tell you, or what will show you, what Al Korea is. Okay, these triple emphasis is to show how awesome this event will be. And in the word awesome, we have the word awe, which means to be excessively afraid, terror, fright, to a high degree. So the day is awesome. It will cause the heart to beat fast in the resurrected body that we will occupy on the day of judgment. Then Allah decides to give the tafsir now of what is Al-Korea. Yawma yakunu nasu kal farash. Okay? You say on that day, okay, mankind, okay, will be like kal farashil mabthuth. Mankind will be like the firash mabthuth. Now, the best way to explain that is that on that day, the people or mankind will be like scattered moths. You know the moths? These little kind of butterfly-like creature. Just imagine thousands of them flutting about, bouncing into each other. Okay, swarming. It looks confused. They're just flying here, flying there, no purpose. And that on that day, when mankind come out of the grave, we will be like that. And part of the Quran explain it as like looking like a whole, like thousands of drunk men and women. They're just moving all about, butting into each other until they are organized into groups to face the courts of Allah. But between coming out of the grave and before they are to face the court of Allah, they'll be like moths, fluttering here, fluttering. They'll be like all about, butting each other, like, or like locusts. I don't know if you all ever saw like on TV or National Geographic when there's a swarm of locusts and they're just butting in, they're just crazy, they're swarming the whole place, flying into windows, into your face, they hitting one another, falling on the ground, getting up, they're just crazy. And in our case, the best way I can explain that in our case, like in Trinidad, when rain fall and we have these flying ants, these rain fly. The ants that get wings and they start to fly. You see how crazy they are? That's how we'll be when we come out of the grave. They get up all in your nose, they bounce each other, they do, they just, like drunken, a group of drunken insects before Allah order them and the angels put them into ranks to face the judgment. This is how we will come out of the grave, like drunk people. Or like, when because Allah said they look like drunk, but they will not be drunk. Just like when somebody shake you up like you're sleeping a nice, you have a nice sleep, and somebody just shake you up to get up. And in our language, we say, you get up stupid. You talk nonsense. You walk aimlessly. It's like that. You'll be shaken and you just jump up. You just be, walking all about, like you don't know, you have no direction. That's the best analogy that I can use. Okay, because in the grave, it's like a sleep. And when the shout and the blow, boom, happen, you just thrown out of the grave. It might come like you not get up, somebody just wake you up. You get up disoriented. That's the best word, disoriented. So this is what Allah is speaking about here. Mankind will be disoriented. Watakunul jibalu kal ihnil manfush, and that the mountains will become like carded wool. Like when you fit in the wool and you pull it out from being in clumps. You pull it out, and then it has become so light. And if a strong wind comes, it can blow away. Okay, so the mountains will be coming like that. And after it blows away, it will fall to the earth like dust. So Allah is just describing, as I said, part of this surah is to convey also different aspect of the Day of Judgment. Okay, so then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue. فَأَمَّا مَنْ ثَقُلَتْ مَوَازِينُهُ. Okay, and as for him, or that person whose scales are heavy. Okay, as for that person whose scales are heavy. And the scales, this is referring, the scales are heavy because of good deeds to the believer. That is, as for those whose scales are heavy, meaning the believers, al-mu'minun, that the scales will be heavy with good deeds, which will outweigh their bad deeds. And last night we mentioned that the narration about the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam giving Abu Sa'id encouragement and to be happy, because one good deed is equal to 10 good deeds, and one bad deed is equal to 1. Okay, so this is how the scales will go in your favor. If you increase your good deeds and you decrease your bad deeds. So again, I said that, O Muslim, be happy, as the Prophet ﷺ told Abu Sa'id to be happy, because 1 is 10 good deeds, and bad deeds, 1 is 1. So we should take comfort and we should take hope in this ayat, which is confirmed again. That man, or that person, فَهُوَ فِي عِشَاةٍ رَاضِيَةٍ, and that person will enjoy a pleasant life. His isha, his life will be pleasant. And the verse is talking about in Jannah, a life of satisfaction, because he will be pleased with that life when he experiences it, and it will be pleasing to him. So those people whose scales are heavy with good deeds and light with bad deeds, they will experience a life that pleases them. They'll be pleased and calm and happy. وَأَمَا مَنْ خَفَّتْ مَوَازِينُ. But as for that person whose scales weigh light, because his evil deeds will outweigh his bad deeds. So he did so much evil, and the good that he do, which is 10 to 1, still was not able to outweigh his bad deeds. So that is why I counsel you to increase your good deeds and decrease your bad deeds. Okay? Nobody is sinless. But if you have the effort to increase your good deeds, Allah will grant you that victory. And spend less effort in increasing your bad deeds. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, that person, فَأُمُّهُ هَاوِيَةٌ. فَأُمُّهُ هَاوِيَةٌ. That person, his mother, okay, will be Hawiyah. This is an Arabic expression. And at the end of the surah, I'll go more into it. But Hawiyah is a big pit. Let's imagine a large pit, large hole dug in a big hole. And Allah said that will be his mother, that hole. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks again, okay, he asks the same question. Okay, وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ, and what will tell you, what will show you, مَا هَاوِيَةٌ, what will show you, مَا هِيَةٌ, what will show you, what is this pit? What will show you, what is this pit? Okay? What will tell you what this pit is? Because it is something that we really have not seen on a large scale. We know what a pit is, but we haven't been able to see it. Okay, we haven't seen it. And so Allah is saying, for emphasis, what will show you, what will give information to you, exactly what this is. And then Allah explains, keep tafsir, Narun Hamiyah. Okay, it is a blazing fire. Okay, blazing hot fire. So this pit will be a pit of fire. And they will be in that pit. So that brings us to the end of that surah. Now, just a little word on what does Allah mean by Hawiyah? In verse 9. Allah says his mother will be Hawiyah. According to Ikrimah, Ibn Abbas, and Qatada, these three men you will see their names comes up a lot in Tafsir, because they were the Mufassirin among those who gave commentary to the Quran among the Sahabas. You'll see the name coming up a lot. Most Tafsir, you see these three people and one or two more. They said that this means he will be falling and dropping head first into the hellfire. Okay? And the word mother, is used to refer to his brains, because it is the mother of his head. So one interpretation is that when they say Hawiyah, it means that this is his brains is the mother of his body. So when he is thrown headlong into the fire, Okay, his his head, his body, led by his head, for he be thrown head first into the spit. Okay, and we know who will throw them. We know who will be throwing these people. You know, the Zabania, Allah's special forces. Those who have most my fierce faces, grim, or as we say, a permanent screw face. These are the dread angels that will throw people into the Hawiyah. Also, another explanation is that the Hawiyah is called his mother because he will have no other home except in it. It will be his mother and his abode, or his home, to which he will return to and where he will settle. You know, we have a saying, our motherland, which we want to go back to, you know, and we want to be embraced by our motherland. But this is what I say. Like, just as a mother embraced the child, you know, which is supposed to give the child comfort. You know, when the child is crying, the mother pick up the child and put him or her at her breast and give her warmth and security. So Allah is saying that hole will be like your mother embracing you, but you're not getting no security there. You're not getting nothing else there but fire. You know, and this is how you can enjoy the Quran in Arabic, because how Allah put the words together and the way He expresses these things, it causes you to think, you know, and think deep. You know, I mean, this you'll be thrown in a hole and will be a mother, you know, but it will be a mother in a negative way, not in what we expect from a mother. Because if a mother is bad or good, she's still a mother. We know this. If you have a bad mother, you have a bad mother. She's still a mother. If you have a good mother, she's still a mother. She's a good mother. So this Javier will be a very bad mother. It will embrace him, and he will fall headlong into it, being thrown by the Zabania. So that is a little extra insight from the companions, so that you can help you to understand this expression. You know, because even the Arabs had asked for clarification. Why Allah say Hawiya? Putting mother to a terrible situation. Okay, because we associate motherhood with positive. So even the Arabs had to dig deep to understand. Okay, as for verse 11, the last verse, where Allah said, Narun Hamiya. And there are also an explanation from the traditions as to what is Narun Hamiya. Okay, because fire is fire. You know, why Allah put Hamiya? You know, like Hamiya is hot. I mean, by the nature of fire is to be hot. Allah is saying hot fire, hot. So why Allah see it necessary to use a quality that fire has to differentiate this type of fire? So it is from the traditions. It is said it is a fire of extreme heat. Okay, a fire of extreme heat. And Abu Huraira narrated from the Prophet ﷺ that he said, the fire of the children of Adam, us, that you all set, you know, the fire that we set, or we kindle when we have to boil, when we have to make food, or either fire by gas or fire by wood, or fire by gas, or any other fuel, kerosene or whatever. He said that fire is just one part of 70 parts of the fire of hell. So the fire in this world is just one part. It is a fire, and the characteristics of fire is to burn. But Allah says, fire, hamia, like fire, burn, burn. Right? And we know that fire already burned to show that this is a different kind of fire. And the fire of earth among the children of us, of children of Adam, Islam, that our fire is one part of 70 parts of fire. And as I always say to you, that when the Arabs say 70, it doesn't mean exactly the number 70. It means more than 70. Okay, and it shows the extremity of the fire. It don't mean 70, you can go 80, 90, 100. They use it as an abbreviation for something that is a lot. It is so much. So that brings us to the end of these two short surahs. So I will take any questions that you may have. Any questions you may have before we close off, inshallah. Okay, so subhanakallahumma bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, nastaghfiruka. So, we hope we get the blessings of this night that has met you seeking knowledge. And seeking knowledge is also ibadah. Okay, seeking knowledge is ibadah. And, we know that an informed Muslim, is harder on the shaitan, than thousands of ignorant worshippers. So, seeking knowledge have its reward, and we hope that Allah and His angelic forces meet us in this way, acquiring knowledge of His book and understanding His message, and that it will count for us 10 to 1, inshallah, and that it will count for us as a reduction of our bad deeds. So we take whatever is beneficial and we leave alone what is not beneficial, and that we advance our knowledge. This should encourage you to develop a relationship with the Quran. Muslims can tell you about what this guys say on the internet and what this video say and what that say. How much of us really have that intimate relationship with the Quran, with the message of Islam? And the Quran is the month, the Ramadan is the month of the Quran. So it should raise your awareness and your zeal to acquaint yourself with the message on a daily basis. Even if you just read 10 verses every day. Okay, always acquaint yourself with this message, because this Quran is your imam, it is your guide, it is your qadi, it is your judge. Okay, and it tells you of things to come, and it tells you about yourself and how to gain success and how to avoid failure. So this is very important. Allah sent a person with this message and sent this book from the high. So Allah sent this book from the high heaven, revealed to a man, to take it to us, and we deal with it as if it's just normal. Like it's not really important. We should give a high level of importance to this book and to understand it. So with that, I close this session, and I hope we come back tomorrow so that we can finish up what we started, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Maulana, we really appreciate your work.